beauty, blowouts, and backstabbing. That's what we're talking about on this channel. Hi, if you're new around here, my name is Bailey Lavender. I do a lot of skits that are comedy related, talking about horrible things that happen in the salon with coworkers, with Karen clients, with horrible bosses, things that a lot of people don't believe actually happen, but really do. So now we're gonna dig into further investigation of what actually happens in the salon industry where people send in what has happened to them. While I do this, because I'm ADHD and a hairstylist, I like to work with my hands. We're gonna get ready together. So let's get started. So yesterday, I posted on my Instagram story that I wanted people to send in their horrible stories. What has happened to you in the salon? I want to know. Hairstylists, makeup artists, estheticians, massage therapists, anybody beauty related, I wanted to hear your story. And I got so many emails. If you're wanting to send in a story, theBaileyLavenderHair@gmail.com, just let me know. Anyways, I had so many people send me the horrible things that have happened to them. I was shocked. The amount of things I've already read through, y'all, people are crazy. It doesn't shock me. The amount of Karen skits I've created from horrible experiences, dealing with clients, dealing with coworkers, dealing with bosses, it's phenomenal. Maybe not phenomenal. I probably should have done my eyes first. Oh well. Like I said, I had a ton of people reaching out, telling me their stories. One in particular shocked me, and that's the one we're going to talk about today. And it is about hair school. So many people forget that hair school is crazy, okay? A lot of the crazy stories that I tell you are from when I was in hair school. People act wild there for some reason. When you're working in a salon, a lot of times you have a little bit more like wiggle room of like, hey, get out. I'm not dealing with that. When you are in the early stages of trying to build your clientele, not even trying to build, when you're trying to get licensed, when you're trying to learn, you kind of put up with more than what you probably should. And so a lot of crazy stories happen in training to be a hairstylist. This person, we're not going to name drop because, unless someone says you can name drop me, I'm not going to name drop because some people want to keep their integrity. They just want to tell me a story that I can use. So I'm going to respect that. But if you're these crazy clients, please know I'm calling you out. Y'all are crazy. Or if you're a bad boss, I will definitely call you out. I've been there. Absolutely not okay. So this story comes from someone who is currently in hair school and still having to actually watch this happen in real life. So if you're unaware, when you're in cosmetology school, the first little bit, you don't work on clients, you work on mannequins, right? And as time goes on, you progress to get to where you're taking on clients, and they are coming into the hair school. They're fully aware that they're going into a hair school. It's not like surprise. You're not walking in and being like, it's a hair school. No, you are fully aware you're going into a hair school to get a service done. Haircut, shampoo, foils, whatever it is. And typically it's at a cheaper price. And that's why a lot of people go is one, they're trying to support someone who's trying to live their best life and create dreams for themselves. Two, they're wanting a cheaper price, or three, they have someone there wanting or needing to get services done for them to be able to get licensed, and they're trying to support that person. Whatever the reasoning is, this person going into the salon for students is fully aware of what's happening, okay? So this client comes in every 4 to 5 weeks regularly. So this lady is fully aware. This lady is fully aware of what's going on. Fully aware of like where she's going, okay? This is not a surprise. Supposedly she is booking her appointments. So you know you're going in to get your hair done. She knows. It's not a surprise. You're not, oh, I think I'm gonna go get gas today because I'm almost out of gas. No, you booked this. Anyways, so she's going in to get her services done, right? When she goes in to get her service done that she requests a particular student for every single time, she always comes in a really nice dress, okay? It's different dresses. They're beautiful. Love dresses. Love when you get to dress up. But please know that sometimes we're unintentional. When you have a color brush, all right? You have a color brush and it's kind of like a spoon, okay? Or a fork. Do y'all purposefully, when you drop food on yourself, is it purposeful? No. You don't purposefully drop food on yourself. It's accidental because you have color in your hands, right? Or if someone's cutting your hair, they don't purposefully let it land on you. Hair is crazy. It flows everywhere. It flies in the wind. You know what I mean? So please know, if you're going to get your hair done and someone accidentally gets something on you or hair gets on you, they're not meaning to. We're not meaning to. Please give grace. Some people are wild. Anyways, this client comes in to get her service done every 45 weeks, like I said, and she always wears this really pretty, nice dress or different dresses, but she doesn't want anything to get on them. Understandably, completely understandable. If you spend really good money on something, you don't want to get it dirty. I get that. Nor am I saying that she should go and get some cheap clothes purely for getting her hair done. Personally, I tell my clients to wear something. Say we're doing a redhead, right? If I have a redhead client and they're coming in to get a refresh, one, I'm going to cape them. And I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do extra measures to make sure they don't get anything on them. But unfortunately, sometimes things happen. I tell all of my clients who have like vivids or that are doing reds or anything like that could possibly stain anything. Please don't wear white. Please don't wear white. Please don't wear something super duper 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 nice. Please don't wear something that y'all spent a ton of money on, okay? So this client, she comes in. So when she goes in, she tells the instructors, which are licensed professionals, that teach, okay? The instructors that I had at my hair school, they were all licensed professionals. And I am pretty sure, now mind you, I went to school in North Carolina, so it might be different other places. I don't know everybody's laws and regulations, but where I went, that was the rule, whatever. So these hairstylists that are also instructors are fully aware that this lady is coming in. And she asks for something to cover her. Normally, they have like a robe almost. So some hairstylists, we have capes that just go around your neck, and then some have ones that you can put your arms through that are like a robe, right? Well, they eventually no longer had that. It went missing or something. People like just steal in the salon all the time. I mean, you're dealing with a whole bunch of people who sometimes do not have the same morals as what you do. It's unfortunate. It happens. When you're dealing with a whole bunch of people. I know we've all dealt with people in our lives that you're like, really? You really thought that was a great idea? You wanted to steal? You wanted to, you know what I'm getting at? Where it's like, I would never think to do that. And y'all wanted to do that anyways. And sometimes people misplace things. It may not even been stolen. That's me maybe just like assuming. And no one assuming this. But the robe that this lady normally put on is not there anymore. So she can't put it on. She can't wear it anymore, so that she doesn't get color on her, right? And mind you, this has been happening for multiple appointments. This is not out of the blue that she doesn't have a robe. She knows there's more than likely not going to be a robe when I go in to get my hair done, okay? So, because mind you, side note, there is a stylist that I work with here, and all of the clients that come to see that stylist, they go to our bathroom and they change and they leave their garments, sweaters, shirts, whatever, hanging on the outside of that stylist door. But they know that's what they come prepared for, right? It's not abnormal. This client is fully aware that this robe that they normally have, the robe's not there. The robe is not there. You can't put on the robe. As your own self, what would you do? Would you keep wearing the super nice dresses, the things that you're super scared of getting dirty, with a possibility of not having that robe there and possibly getting something on it? I wouldn't. I don't wear super nice things to begin with, especially to somewhere someone's learning, someone's doing a job that I am fearful that they're going to get something dirty. Like, I want to give grace to people and knowing that things happen, right? I'm also a mom, so I'm fully aware that like accidents happen. So she still goes and takes her clothes off, takes the dress off, is given a normal cape, and is walking around in her undergarments, her bra and panties, if you're unaware of what I'm talking about, with just the cape on. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've had a client or two where something like this has happened unintentionally, where like they were like, oh crap, I have a hair appointment today. They come in, they just bought a new dress, or they walk in and I'm like, oh, that's really, really nice. I'm scared with what we're doing today that I'm gonna get something on it. Go change, put this cape around you. Now, mind you, I double cape them. So like I put a cape around the back and then a cape on the front. But hair schools, some hair schools have different rules, right? So like within my hair school, we were given one cape per client, right? And mind you, some of the stuff, some people have to provide. So like some people may not have enough capes because you're not given your hot tools and all that. Like it's part of the purchase that you are buying when you go into hair school. So they might not have extra capes that they have readily for making sure this woman is covered. Okay. So just keep that in mind. A lot of people think that hairstylists, the salon will provide a whole bunch of stuff. They don't. A lot of places really, really don't. So please be gentle with your hairstylist. This lady is walking around, and when she goes to the shampoo bowl, she's coming out in her bra and panties, is walking through the salon, holding it closed in the back, almost like a hospital gown, where everyone can see this. Students are trying to learn. Now, mind you, typically when you're in hair school, you're either out of high school. Some people are going back later in life to start their career, whatever it is. And she's walking through this group of people, not only people that are learning, not only instructors, but also clients, other clients there to get services done. I would be so embarrassed. So embarrassed. Okay, then add on to it, right? And of course, I don't know anything. She is asking for these same stylists every single time, which is a compliment, right? Because then obviously you're a student, you're learning, you're doing such a good job that someone keeps requesting you. That is a huge thing. Like I had a few clients that they did not, that they were bounce around and they were known for that. And then I had a couple that they stayed with me religiously throughout the remainder of my cosmetology hair school. Because I'll be honest with you, my instructors made me very aware. If someone starts with you in hair school, they're more than likely not going to follow you after hair school because you cannot provide the prices that hair school charges these people. I was really sad when that was very true. Anyways, hair school is one of the super fun times where you get to learn, you get to grow, you get to do things that you normally don't get to do. That are different. And the experiences that you have there are very wild, right? Like a lot of the things that happen in hair school I've yet to have seen happen outside within the normal realm of working in a salon. And I don't know if it's like crazy migrates to hair schools or if it's like people just are embarrassed to do this kind of stuff when you are not in here, when you're going to an actual salon. I don't really fully know why it makes such a difference, but if you ask any hairstylist or esthetician, nail artist, anything like that, they're gonna have some crazy stories from working behind the chair. They are. People are crazy. You're working with the public. People are nuts. But I promise you, they have at least 1 to 2 stories of something crazy that happened at hair school. And mind you, a lot of times hair school is not a very long experience. So the fact that people act this wild for the short period of time that you were in hair school, backstory, when you start hair school, each state has a different requirement for the amount of hours you have to get licensed. And that is within training, that is within the written portion, so that they make sure you know everything you need to know before you go test to be a licensed hairstylist. In North Carolina was 1,800 hours. And sometimes the instructors there, phenomenal. Sometimes, to be fair, sometimes the instructors don't get the full story to be able to help a student who's trying to help a client, right? So example, when I was in hair school, there was this girl who she had a client come in. It was a young, almost preteen, almost teen girl come in with her grandmother, okay? And this teenager wanted purple highlights in her already blonde hair. And she wasn't naturally blonde. You could tell she gets that highlighted by a professional. And this stylist was unsure of how to go about making sure that when she does this client, it doesn't get purple everywhere, because purple and a lot of other fantasy colors, they bleed, which means they get on things around them. Okay. So when working on this client, she went to the instructors and was like, how do I put purple in like peekaboos everywhere? And the instructor was like, oh, just pull her blonde through a cap and put the purple on those peekaboos and then just rinse it once it's done processing, which sounds great in theory, okay? Sounds great in theory. She pulls it through a cap, she puts the purple on, it's working out beautifully. What they didn't tell her is it's helpful, especially if the client's hair is porous, meaning it's going to grab things, to make sure that you rinse with extremely, extremely cold water. And she did not. And she rinsed with hot water. And she had pulled so much through purple-wise. Like she did, a lot of times peekaboos are like right behind the ear or right in your front of your face or right back here where when you pull your hair forward, you get a little peekaboo. And then it can be hidden away again, right? That's the terminology of why people call it a peekaboo. This poor stylist, this baby stylist, this student stylist who is still learning, still trying to figure things out, put it everywhere. Like it looked as though when you're pulling through a cap, right, you do tiny little pieces everywhere. If you were to do it normally to do blonde or some type of lift in the hair, you put it everywhere. And that's what she did because that instructor never came back to check. Mind you, I was watching this whole thing. And mind you, the rest of us still didn't even know the difference. We didn't know. Otherwise we'd have been like, hey, don't do that. Because we were still learning too. So we were like, oh, that sounds like so much fun. I want to do a peekaboo next. So when she rinsed it, there was purple everywhere. And that's not even the crazy part of the story, okay? So there's purple everywhere. Mind you, she's blow drying the hair. Grandma is not in sight. I think she went out with the other grandchild or something to go do something. I can't fully remember. But she leaves, comes back. Grandma is like, you know what I mean? Because she's looking at her granddaughter that she took to get her hair colored and have a little piece of purple put in. And because she was already blonde, she didn't have to like be pre-foiled, do other things in it to make it light enough so that she could get the blonde or the purple put in and be able to be seen. Because if you're really dark and if you put a fantasy color over top of it, sometimes you can't really see it. So it's helpful to go lighter so you can see the fantasy color in there. Anyways, so the grandma comes in. She says she's like cursing up a storm and not at the student because she's just like crap, right? And so she has to call the girl's mom because come to find out, this grandmother who doesn't normally get time with the grandkids. I don't know their backstory. That's none of my business. But supposedly, because I was overhearing this entire thing, supposedly she doesn't normally get one-on-one time with them alone. Okay? Whatever that story is, that's not my business. That's what I heard. And she had to call mom and tell her that something went wrong. And I was currently living in a small town in North Carolina. And so it did not take long at all for the girl's mom to come up to the school. She was so mad. So mad. She was mad at the instructors. She was mad at the student. She was mad at her daughter. But most importantly, she was mad at her own mom. Because she was like, you knew that I didn't want my daughter's hair color. You knew that I told my daughter no. You knew all of these things when you decided to be the knight in shining armor, the cool grandma, whatever you want to call it. She's like, you knew all of this when you brought her here because she's been asking me for purple. Quote, Mom, do you know why I told her no? Well, I just thought you were being mean to my grandbaby. No. She starts school soon because it's summer when all this is going on, and she can't have it. Okay, so backstory. Some schools, if you're in a state or an area that allows it, not all schools allow you to have fantasy color in your hair because they deem it as like, let's even the verbiage, like distraction. They view it as a distraction for other students, and so they don't allow it. It's part of the dress code. And so this young girl is about to go back to school. She's about to start the next year, and she is supposed to have a tiny little piece of purple, and she has purple everywhere. And it's because her hair was porous, and because of how it was put on, she had purple literally up to her scalp. It literally looked like my hair had purple. Her mom was not very happy. Now, mind you, because we're in hair school, we don't know how to fix it. The instructors do, right? But because we're in hair school, we're not very fast. So FYI, a lot of times when you're in hair school, you're going slower because you're learning a new skill. It's kind of like when you're learning how to drive, you typically don't go 80. Typically. Some people still go fast, but you typically don't go 80. You're typically really excited to go the speed limit because that's still kind of fast, right? So that is how it is in hair school. Not everybody ends or starts fast. We actually, in my hair school, were taught to time yourself, right? And teach yourself how to go faster with different services. So with that being said, when we started hair school each day, it was at 8 a.m. We were in theory, which is like the practical class, or the theory is like where you're learning like book work, right? Where you have your textbook and you are putting pen to paper, you're taking tests, you're making sure you understand cleanliness, disinfection, sanitation, theories behind hair, of how it got to be where it is, how it's made up, what different chemicals do together, all sorts of kind of things, right? So there's a lot that goes into it. And so the first part of the class or the day, each day at my school was that. And so then we went on break, and then we come back from break and we'd start our day. And typically it was around like 10:30. Okay. And so then when we got out of school at normal time, right? I think it was like 3, and we're going really slow. Normally, myself, I'd probably be done within like an hour. But it took her extra long. So by the end of her service, we were about to leave. And within where I was going to school, you didn't get to keep all of your stuff at your station, because there was night classes and there was day classes, right? And I was in day class, and I would leave there and I would go to work. And so you had to take time to clean up your station, and you had to clock out to make sure you're getting all your hours. You had to clock out. And so she was about to have to leave. The student stylist who did her hair was soon about to have to leave and have to clock out. But this client is sitting here with like messed up hair that she can't go to school with. And so now what do? Does the school fix it? Do we fix it? Do the instructors fix it? Do they leave and go somewhere else for another stylist to fix it that didn't do the incorrect job? And mind you, it's not a bad job. The stylist did a good job for what the education she had with what she was told to do. Like, there was a lot of things that played into this, right? And so there was a lot of confusion of like, what happens next? Well, they passed it off to night school. And I think it turned out fun because I think more instructors got their hands in it. Because there are certain things that we can do without using lightener, without using bleach, to get that kind of stuff out, right? But it's not easy. Sometimes, depending on the client's hair, it doesn't want to come out. Sometimes it will lift their natural. There's a lot of things that play into it, and especially early on in someone's career that's not even a career yet because you're still in school, you don't know what to do. And so the mother was, rightfully so, angry as hell, livid, and wanted it out because her daughter, I can't fully remember if she was supposed to be starting school soon, or if it was there was still time. I can't fully remember when that timeline was. From what I feel, like, you know how you feel like you remember certain things? I feel like school was supposed to be starting very soon. I never saw what eventually came of that little girl's hair, so I never really fully heard what happened there. But that was crazy. And then to think about, reverting back to the first story that was sent in, think about this lady coming in, right? And as a brand new student, you're already uncomfortable, right? You don't fully, even though you could have done the same client 15,000 times, and you could be doing the most basic service by giving someone a trim or just simply doing a retouch up or doing literally a shampoo blowout. Like, no matter what, as a student in school, you are still nervous. You're still trying to learn. You're still unaware of like what's going to fully work or not. I mean, I didn't even learn about toners fully in hair school. So there's a lot of nerves that are going on. And to add on the fact that someone is coming into the hair school and purposefully making someone feel uncomfortable, because I don't know if, maybe not even purposefully, if you're unaware that you being almost fully unclothed in front of another human being makes them feel uncomfortable, then maybe you need to have a conversation with yourself. Because I'll tell you right now, it makes people feel uncomfortable. Don't do that. Okay? And why? Why would you want to do that? And maybe that's me just like being judgy. And I apologize if it's coming across that way, but like, I think a lot about how things make other people feel, right? And making other people's life difficult, right? So like when I'm going to a hair appointment, and maybe it's because I work in the industry, but when I'm going to a hair appointment, I think about the collar of my shirt, right? So this one, it has a hood on it. When they go to cut my hair, it's going to make things difficult. So I would not wear this to a hair salon. Or if I got there, I would make sure I had something up underneath of it that I could take this off for so that I didn't make their life more difficult. Or a turtleneck. Now, sometimes people make mistakes or people don't think about things and they're apologetic. I have a ton of clients that they come in with like the shorter turtleneck and they're like, I didn't even think that this might be an issue. I am so sorry. People don't always mean to be assholes, okay? And I'm a firm believer that not everybody that does something bad is trying to be an asshole. And nor am I saying that this lady is probably going in there and purposefully making someone feel uncomfortable. But in the same token, please stop and think for a second. And then it makes me wonder, why have the instructors not said anything? That's also weird to me because my instructors at the school that I went to, my God, were amazing. They fought for us. If somebody was being like rude, like they're just not being a kind human being, they would stick up for us. They would come to our defense. They would literally go to the ends of the earth to make sure they defended us, right? Because we were babies. Even if you were not straight out of high school or in a high school, you, in their eyes, were still their baby that they still wanted to defend and take care of. Does that make sense? And so my question is, these instructors, right? And of course I need more information because I'm so curious. These instructors, are you telling this lady, hey, you're making people feel uncomfortable? Because if I had a client come in, right, who regularly was pretty much, I work in a suite in a bigger salon. And so I can close my door. And if my clients now, I have all amazing clients. If my clients now came in and they didn't think and were half naked, I wouldn't care. Right. But I also am a firm believer you have to pay attention and consider the people all around you. How is this lady making other people feel? Does she care? Do the instructors care? I feel like there's so many more things that need to be in this conversation. Like, what? Like, when you're at that stage, right, you half the time don't even know how to properly mix hair color, right? And that's not me trying to be like rude. You still are having to remember that the hair color that you use in hair school is what to what ratio per developer. Like, you're still learning these things. You're still learning how you like your lightener to be mixed. And this is all stuff that you don't know prior to. Like, I still was learning after I left hair school what ratios I preferred. And to add on the fact that like I'm worried that my client in my chair is making other people feel uncomfortable. Ugh. Like, I didn't even like back then talking about religion around a whole bunch of people just simply because I didn't want anyone who may believe differently, or if my client was getting very passionate about something, I didn't want anyone to ever feel uncomfortable. Like, and that's why I like being in the suite, because I feel like I can have more intimate conversations with my clients and fully understand what they're trying to say and make sure that they're not going to offend anybody. And make sure if what they are saying is offensive, we can have an in-depth conversation about it. Because I have in-depth conversations with my clients because I'm a firm believer. If they're a part of my life, I'm a part of their life. And we need to have mutual understanding. Do you wear a lip liner? I love lip liner. but I don't like stuff that's like crazy. So Blend Bunny Cosmetics, one of my friend Taj, she did a collab with them, and she did this huge glamorous palette that I'm eventually going to start using and try to recreate some different looks that are out of my normal. And then she also did this highlighter palette that I like to use as like my shimmer, because I think it's pretty. When y'all go to a hair school, okay, so when y'all go to a hair school, do y'all expect to have the same quality from those stylists that are learning, or those students that are learning to be stylists, that you would expect from a seasoned stylist that have been in the industry for years? What are your expectations there? Because I'm very curious about that. Because when I was young and in the beginning stages of my career, there were a lot of people who knew I was brand new, or would come to the school and know that I was still training, and would not give any grace in that time period. I've had people send me emails about how they were treated horribly by this client because they needed help from an instructor, right? That they had called over the instructor to ask what like kind of game plan they should do or have planned out, or what products they should use on a client, or where their foils should be, or like a whole bunch of questions that you ask these instructors because you don't know. And these clients who are going to a school that they're fully aware is not a licensed professional that's doing them, that is a student that is learning, and that they're going to get a discounted service because they're at a school. They get mad that they're asking these questions. It is mind-blowing to me. So what are y'all's thoughts? I really want to know. So if you went to a salon, right, and you were really wearing a really nice dress, okay, and you asked to take it off, and they gave you a cape, you put it around you, or a robe, that you put a robe on that they give you, and the next time you go in, 2 times later, they no longer have the robe. And the first time, embarrassed, right? First time you're walking around in your tidy whities, in your bra, your bralette, your sports bra, whatever it is, and you were probably embarrassed that time, and they were probably embarrassed because they no longer had the robe for you to put on. The next time, would you still go in your really nice dress? Would you still expect for them to allow you to wear a cape? Like, what are your expectations there? What is your thought process? Because I'll tell you right now, I don't wear the clothing that I wear to a public event, right? So say I'm going to a work conference. I'm not going to wear what I would wear to a work conference that I would wear to go get my hair done, okay? Now, I have some clients that they come in and they are going somewhere afterwards and like, I'm so sorry, I didn't think to bring something else to wear. I'm like, you're fine. And I'll just like triple them up on a cape, or they would go naked sometimes. Some people have to do that, you know, because like people spend money on stuff they don't want to go to like get ruined. I get that. But it is the point of knowing that that's where you're going. And every time, because from what I believe I understood in this email, this client didn't just start with this student, had been passed down to the student, which is a lot of times very normal. So in hair school, a lot of times you'll have a client that is loyal to one stylist. And then when that stylist is about to graduate, that stylist will pick the next person that this client goes to, because a lot of times you're watching these younger students that are newer, that don't have a client base, or just started taking on clients outside of the basics, and so you get to choose who your client that you've been working on goes to next. And it's kind of like, it's like this little cutesy little you're like passing the baton of like, here, you've worked really hard, I'm giving you this client. You're doing well, and I see that you're going to succeed. And then a lot of times that client will stay with that stylist, and they will work with them. They will stay with them and allow them to keep doing their hair until it's time for them to be passed on again. And it's just a rotation. It's a beautiful rotation that a lot of these students get to partake in, and a lot of the clients that are there, they get to watch these people grow and learn skills and get faster. And it's honestly beautiful. I loved hair school simply because of that. It was a learning experience. But with that being said, how do you go into a hair school and purposefully make someone feel uncomfortable? And like I said earlier, there's a chance that this client has no idea she's making people feel uncomfortable. And if you possibly know someone that's making someone else feel uncomfortable, tell them, inform them, hey, you're making someone so-and-so feel uncomfortable. Well, how do you know that? Because it would make me uncomfortable. A lot of people in this world, I feel like, my mother always has said, some people can't see past the tip of their own nose, meaning that they don't think about anyone other than themselves. And a lot of people in this world are like that. And it is very, very sad. But unfortunately, that's how the world is, right? So if you see something, say something, right? Because these baby stylists, these people trying to grow, trying to learn, the last thing they need is your naked self in their chair. It's a little uncomfortable, okay? That's all I can probably think about. Not in a bad, like a kind of way, but more like a, wow, I have a client today that likes to get stripped down naked, and that's not like, that you're the naked client. You're the naked client. Do you want to be known as the naked client? I don't. My goal, anytime I go see a fellow hairstylist to get a service done, is for me to make their life as easy as possible. Have you eaten? Have you had coffee? Have you gone to the bathroom? Do you need a snack? Anything to help them make their day better, right? How many clients did you have before me? Do you want to blow dry me? I can blow dry myself. I can go home and shampoo or blow dry. What can I do to make your life easier? And a lot of people, like the stylist that I've been seeing for a while now, Savannah, I love her. Oh, hey girl. So she likes to get the after photos. So she will blow dry my hair or get her assistant to. The last time her assistant blow dry my hair, I have naturally curly hair, and her assistant was like, because it gets big, okay? And so Savannah come over, she's like, it's okay, do it this way, no big deal. But like, once you get to know your stylist, you get to understand their boundaries, things that they need. I'm fully aware that Savannah has a coffee shop that we both love right near her. And so I typically don't offer to get her coffee because her stylist and her typically go in every single day. And if I give her more caffeine, she's going to come out of her own skin, right? I know that. And that's one thing, if you've constantly seen the stylist, that you more than likely know, right? So like, I'm rambling on don't make people feel uncomfortable. Anyways, I love y'all. Thank you for being here for the first episode of Beauty, Blowouts, and Backstabbing. I have so many more stories myself, and I'm so excited to tell y'all more stories that are to come. Make sure you subscribe if you've not done so already. I'm so excited for the next episode of this to come out because I'm really excited for all the stories that have been sent in already. If you're wanting to send in your own story of horrible things that have happened behind the chair, in the chair, or around the chair, please make sure you send it to thebaileylavender@gmail.com. I love you so much, and I hope to see you next week. Bye, y'all.